Welcome to the Make Life Your Bitch podcast. I'm your host, Brittany Alysia. Greatness is a decision and your birthright. You deserve to love the woman looking back at you in the mirror. This show is for the purpose-driven female entrepreneur who is committed to only counting the time she gets back up. The woman who is ready to ignite the flame within, find her voice, and use the power of her story to transform the lives of those around her. This is your weekly fuel to inspire you to action, where I'll be sharing inspirational stories, real talks with thought leaders and successful entrepreneurs from around the world, and provide you with actionable success strategies for creating a business you love. I'm a content marketing coach, and I'm committed to helping you as an online creator and entrepreneur wherever you are to turn your dreams into a reality, to help you transform your messaging so you can create a genuine connection with your audience and grow your income online. You are far more powerful and stronger than you will ever imagine. We are the warriors. You were born for this. Let's make life your bitch. Hello and welcome to the Make Life Your Bitch podcast. I'm your host, Brittany Alysia, and today's episode is one that I actually recorded from the bathtub, and I had a lot of fun with it, and it just really gave me permission, and I wanted to be able to give all of you permission that you get to do business your way. That if you have a big dream of being able to travel the world and work remotely, doing things now and allowing yourself to be set up for creating a business around your life, now's the time to do it. And so the audio in today's episode is not super great, but I want it to be raw and real. And as I work through and decide, how I'm going to be able to do podcast episodes from the bathtub with better audio, the next one will be better. But I wanted to be able to be real and raw with you and share this one because energetically, it was a lot of fun for me. And like I said, it really allowed me to be able to show up in a way that allows even myself to make my dreams more my reality. So I hope you love this one as much as I do. Hello and welcome to the Make Life Your Bitch podcast. I am your host, Brittany Alysia, and I am doing something weird, quirky, different today. And when some of you hear what it is, you are never going to listen to the podcast again. And when the others listen, it is going to give you permission to run business your way. It is going to bring the weirdest smile to your face. And don't worry, I'm not judging. But I'm podcasting from the bathtub today. And the reason I want to share that is because, as many of you know, is that I'm a new mom. And so the things that I really enjoyed doing pre-mom was coffee, matcha teas, lattes, staying up late, working on my business, being able to be on my phone, doing social media whenever I wanted, eating whenever I wanted, going wherever I wanted, and taking a bath whenever I wanted. And when I would take a bath, I would be in here for a few hours. And I would have a bath every single Sunday. And you know what? I hit this point where I had my daughter Scarlett, and I think I had like 2 or 3 baths, and she's going to be 4 months right away. And today I decided to jump into the tub, and I was just going to journal and do some behind the scenes work and that. And I was like, you know what, versus waiting till after I'm out of the bath to do my episode, I was like, why not do it in here? Because A, I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I love to multitask. And B, I'm doing 2 things that I absolutely love at the same time, which is pretty cool. So, like I said, some of you guys are going to be like, I can't believe she's doing this. But some of you guys are like, wow, she just gave me permission to do business my way. And for you, ladies, keep listening, because I'm going to tell you how I hit 6 figures in only a few months last year. And it was my first 6 figures in my business, which was very exciting. And so in 2018, when I first started my business, it entailed me starting a blog and not really focusing on the coaching stuff. 2019, it was about the summertime when I decided to really focus on coaching. And it wasn't till the end of 2020, so this time 2 years ago, that I really got serious with my business. I stopped treating it like a hobby. And what ended up happening was I had a back injury and I wasn't being paid properly. And you know what? I was like, I'm just going to go all in on my business. I'm going to pretend that these like breadcrumb payments that I'm receiving for like being off work because of my back, I'm going to pretend that that's not happening, and I'm going to replace my income because I'm surviving, right, on that income. And so I was like, if I can replace this, and that was my first goal. My first goal was just to replace my income, and then I scaled from there in the sense like, not scaling from 10K months and beyond or 20K months. Like it was just like literally scaling from like a fresh start, which was exciting all in itself because, I ended up, so that was the end of November. I got a couple clients in December, and by end of January, I replaced my income, which was cool, right? I knew at that point that I didn't have to go back to work at the hospital anymore, and I continued to grow from there. And so, like I said, I want to share with you the secrets as to how I hit my first six figures in my business, because I've really started to come back to that as to sitting down and being like, what made me successful last year, and how can I grow and scale that versus spending the last year trying a million different things, right? How many times have you done something successful and then all of a sudden you do something and then none of it's working and you're wondering why? Well, like what changed, what's not working? And really that strategy that you decided to do instead, if you look back, you're like, oh, like there's a whole bunch of stuff that I was doing that I forgot was important because it became so natural. And sometimes we forget what we were doing and those natural things kind of like fall off. So the first thing I did was I got clarity in what I desired for myself and my business. So I sat down and I acknowledged what was the entire dream, the big dream for the clients I wanted to impact, how many people I wanted to impact, the way I was going to do it, the ripple effect I desired to make in the world. And, I really wanted to just help women go after their dreams was ultimately the goal, because I had been through so much in my own life, and I refused to use my story as like, of being a victim. And instead I'm like, no, like this, it's not even like about me being a survivor. It's about, wow, like I get to use these tools and lessons that I've learned to help others, right? Because I can't change what's already happened. So why not change my future with it by helping someone else maybe get somewhere faster, or, see that they're not alone in what they're doing. Maybe there's moms listening right now and they're like, you mean I can do my business from the bathtub? And it's like, yes, you can. You are getting permission today. So I apologize if there's an echo. I'm going to do everything I can to remove that from the recording, but I mean, we're living our best lives, right? So the second thing was, when we're talking about living our best lives, was mindset. So there were 3 different things that I did and every day consistently. And so the first thing I did at that time was, if you've followed Tony Robbins' priming exercise, you can look it up on YouTube. Just type in priming, no ads, put that in there. That way you don't get them. It's about 14 minutes. And what it does is it has you go through gratitude first, and visualization and feeling gratitude, and then focusing on 3 things that you desire. And it's that visualization piece that is super important. And so I did that, and I've since expanded into not just doing that, but doing different meditations. But the key is the gratitude and the visualization, because the gratitude is what raises your vibration, and the visualization is what magnetizes those desires to you. The other thing I did was I am statement. So I'd start a timer and look at myself in the mirror, and I would say, like, I am beautiful, I have nice eyes, I am creative, I am energetic, I am funny. And I would go through, everything. And I was in the beginning, it was really difficult because, I felt like I was just saying it for the sake of saying it. But if you can take a moment to look into your eyes and look into your soul and be like, hey, who am I really? It's going to make you feel a lot better. I also do that with my hands on my hips and my chest forward. And I'm going to touch on that briefly right away here. And then the other thing I did is I have a clear desires letter. So a letter I read to myself every day as to how many lives I want to impact, the money I want to make, what I want to do with that, different things that I want to do for my family, for my friends, the fact that I want to start a charity, all those things are on there that are really exciting. And, I always say it's about building a business around your life, right? Like, your life comes first. And I know that seems scary when someone says that. I had a client a couple weeks ago who said that she would just love to, sit out by the pool. And I said, well, how many clients do you want? She said, well, 20. And I'm like, do you know what it's going to be like for you to sit around the pool and have 20 clients? Like, you're not going to get to live and have fun, so how are you going to serve those 20 clients? And sure, if you want 20 clients, that's great, but just make sure you're looking at the life that you want to live as well, right? So with, the priming or the meditation, the I am statements and the clear desires letter, the key things about that. So if you look at, I don't know if it was from Tony Robbins, that's where I learned it. It could be just in general something, but there are 3 things that I learned from him when it comes to connecting with people. And the first one is when you connect with someone, the things that actually draw people to you is 7% of it is your words, the words that you use. 38% of it is your tone of voice. And 55% of it is your physiology. And so that also is what relates to your confidence and the way you show up when you're connecting even with the universe. That's like a relationship, right? And so if you think back to my 3 things that I say I do every day, so with the priming, the clear gratitude and visualization, right? That is, that physiology piece, and really connecting with that. With the I am statements, it's the words, the tone of voice, and the physiology. It's all of them, which is super important. And the clear desires letter, like I said, I read that out loud. Written, it's the words, it's that tone of voice, and that physiology. So I'm making sure that I'm tapping into every area of that raising your vibration, putting yourself in a good state so that you can magnetize all your desires to you, right? If you have heard about, there will be obviously a recording here talking about the dimensions, intensive coming up, but I really go into that as to how to release yourself and release yourself from those beliefs, really learn how manifestation all works, and then we're going to actually be able to put you in a place of being able to receive that. At the end of that intensive, you're going to have all the tools and knowledge you need to go out and, make life your bitch, essentially, but, attract abundance and manifest all you desire into your life, which is really cool.
Are you ready to dive deeper into understanding the 5th dimension, how to quantum leap, and how to utilize the compound effect? These concepts are super trendy right now, but as someone who has experienced trauma and may still like a little bit of control, trusting blindly can be very difficult for me until I understood how it all works. Even I didn't know how I manifested my dream vehicle, home, man, my baby girl, and hitting 6 figures, but now I do. Every program I have ever taken on manifestation told me to feel energy and trust. I tried everything from being positive, gratitude lists, connecting with crystals, clearing my chakras, and following the moon cycles. I needed more than just to trust. I needed to know how and why. This is your warning sign, though, that once you do learn this, you'll never look at energy and manifestation the same again. Dimensions is a 3-day intensive where you will become equipped with the manifestation sequence. We will deep dive into how it works, how to stay in the vibe, and manifest your dream life, all for only $333. Join now by heading to the description for the link.
So number 3 things that I did is I had an aligned strategy when it came to sales. I sold based on what felt really, really good to me versus trying to do what everybody else was doing. And, I shifted that once it no longer felt aligned. And so this is your permission that if you don't like doing a certain sales process, then do something different. However, don't just quit what you're doing without shifting and changing things and the next thing starting to work for you. That was like a mistake that I made. And with the coaches I worked with, I would say they would say to me, you don't have to do sales calls. And I would say that is awesome. I'm not going to do sales calls anymore. And then they would tell me that I just have to figure out what my thing is, which was really difficult. I find as private one-to-one coaches, we should be receiving that support, right? As to helping us find our way and connect us to what works for us. So if you haven't heard, I just did a post today regarding the comeback story that is coming up, and that is a private coaching container that includes dimensions, it includes abundance codes, and it includes all of the private calls and everything to really get you on track for both strategy and mindset. The 4th thing I did was being authentic in how I showed up and really showing up however I wanted, kind of like in the bathtub, and not caring what anyone else thought. If I wanted to do a positive post, great. If I wanted to do something quirky, great. Whatever felt really good versus trying to listen to the way that everybody else was talking about content, right? Oh, you need a sales page or you need a funnel. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Russell Brunson, and his company and all they stand for. They're very, I've connected with his wife and she's such a beautiful person, but it wasn't aligned for me to be doing that because at this point, I'm not, even though I have programs that I could sell evergreen, I'm not doing it right now. I have a focus elsewhere. And so I wanted to make sure that I was doing business my way and showing up authentically. That didn't feel like I had to be everywhere and, everything for everyone. And so if you're finding that you've been buying program after program after program, seeing everybody else's sales strategy, and trying it, one of the cool things about myself, when I work with my clients, is that I am a projector and I'm very much focused on helping my clients do things their way versus trying to teach them, trying to teach them only my way, right? If they do want to do things my way, that's great. But I talk to them about the energetics as to why it works for me and why, different sales strategies works for other people, because as a projector, I can see why it's working for them. I think I gave an example, it was possibly on the last episode, where I talked about one of my clients who she is very mysterious. And in her photos, she has her eyes covered and she just has that vibe. She wears all black. And inside her Facebook group, she mentioned a offer. And she said it's very exclusive, it's not for everyone. And she never even said the price or what things were, too much details. And all of a sudden people were all interested in it, right? And so for her, because that's who she is energetically, of course she's going to attract people because it's just her element. Whereas for me, I'm super chatty. So when I do the pre-sale stuff and, I have to change the price or say like there's limited this, it doesn't feel aligned for me. So I don't do it. Even with Black Friday coming up, trying to think of like, well, what would be really fun for me without having to, without actually having to, drop prices on anything that I've created, because I'm not gonna lie, that doesn't seem fun. So actually saying this right now, I'll probably do a secret offer. So keep your eyes out for that. Secret offers I've done in the past have been really cool. It's often, you get into different programs that I am putting on. And so, for example, the secret offer I did last year, they got into the Living Legacy program. This year, the secret offer, people got into that, into the luxury program and the wealthy woman program. So I often like to do things like that where women are trusting their guts and their intuition and all that, because the women I like to work with are they love talking about energy, manifestation, abundance, like all the woo-woo stuff I like to say. So because of that, the women who trust themselves and make those aligned moves are really exciting to work with. And of course, there's offers where, when people don't want to do the secret offer, that's totally fine. They want all the details. But so maybe I'll do that. Keep your eyes out for that. And then the last piece which is super important, is consistency. So showing up wherever your place is and being consistent in the way that you connect with people, and not necessarily you. This is what worked for me, right? This is how I got to 6 figures. I was consistent, and it's been really funny because I see a lot of women, and you can watch for this, a lot of women who say that they don't do that and they're still really successful, but they are showing up consistently. They just don't feel like they are, because they're not sitting there trying to figure out sales posts, and they're not posting everywhere. But I had a woman on the podcast who she shared that, and I went and looked at her Facebook, and she does post every single day. And it's not necessarily sales posts or anything like that, but she shows up every day. Another woman that I used to work with, she did 10 posts, I think in the last 90 days, she said, on her Instagram. And the thing with that too but she showed up in her stories every single day, right? And so this is your permission that you don't have to be everywhere, right? You don't have to be everywhere. You don't have to be everything for everyone. You get to do things your way. And that's why I say my brand used to be the Independent Boss Babe, because it was all about doing things your way. But what I've really learned is that it all comes back to living your dream life and really putting your life first above everything. And the reason I say that is because you get to really connect with the real you when you focus it from a place of living your dream life now, creating your dream life. And when we can look at that, and I have my clients identify, who is that person a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Who is that woman? What is she doing? I love to do visualizations. Actually, the episode that I did with the 11-11-22 portal, there's a 12-month visualization in there, but I do a different one with my clients now. That one's an older one that I had, but I have them do that, and what often comes through is that the business and the niche that they're in isn't actually what future them is doing. And so of course there's going to be a misalignment when they try and sell, because that future version of themselves is no, this isn't it. We need to align more. We need to be more authentic. And one of the things I also like to do, there's a lot of people, they talk about inner child work and all that. And I really like to join join forces with my version 5 years from now. My inner child, when I'm like working through limiting beliefs with my clients as well, identify who is the woman 5 years from now, who is that child based on whatever limiting belief that we're going through, and, join them together so that you guys, like, you all walk side by side alongside each other, going down the path and the journey that you are creating for yourself, which is really cool. So those are the 5 things that I really focused on to hit my first 6 figures in my business. And that was clarity on what I desire, plus clarity on my business of what I do. The second thing is mindset, and like that was like super important. And I teach all of this, I teach all of this in my programs. The third one is having an aligned strategy for how you're going to do it. I know when people say the word strategy to me, because I'm such a free spirit, it makes me want to throw up a little. But when I say aligned strategy, it's like creating a business that is really fun and exciting for you, such as, like I said, podcasting from the bathtub. The fourth thing is authenticity in how you show up. So show up and be honest, but like you also don't have to be that person who like is super brutally honest. You don't have to air out all your dirty laundry, but people relate to people like themselves, right? And that know, like, and trust factor is so important. There's going to be some women who listen to the podcast, they're going to listen to one episode, a couple episodes, and they're going to be like, hey, this isn't for me. Whereas there's going to be other women who, every time I do an episode, they show up and they're like, yeah, by the way, the daily episodes, I'll be totally honest, were like a bit much, because I really like to work from a place of alignment, right? So it's like I get an idea and I want to like talk about it now. So doing the mini-sodes, I'm calling them, are a lot more fun for me. And usually I like to put them out like within 24 hours of me recording them. And the reason is because I do believe in energetics, and I want you to like feel that and connect with that right away, versus me sharing, an episode a few days later, or, a week later, or batch working those mini episodes. I don't like doing that. And like I said, then the fifth one is consistency in whatever feels super aligned for you. So that is it for this one. We'll see how this goes. Maybe I'll podcast from the bathtub all the time, and I'll just be known as that woman who's making life my bitch and podcasting from the bathtub. Obviously not my interviews. Those will not be from my bathtub. But yeah, so for all of you listening, I want to give you permission today to do business your way and go out there and make life your bitch.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Make Life Your Bitch podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please share it with your bestie. And if you haven't already, subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast player. If you have any questions, feedback, or compliments that you want to throw like confetti, you can reach me directly at podcast@makelifeyourbitch.co. Thanks for listening.